Let's
That's the
go
only
ahead
voice I
and
have.
let's go ahead and get started. Congratulations with Soul of an Angel, and what a fantastic race. Breeders' Cup winner, you're in challenge winner, the Princess Rooney. And I will start down the end with Drayden, and welcome back to Del Mar, a real homecoming for you. But tell us about the start of the race, because it didn't look like things got away as well as they could.
No, the start of the race was good. You know, she's just not as fast as those other horses, and it's kind of a replay of the Princess Rooney. And I just had to stay after her, you know, and believe in her, and kept her covered up. And when it was time to get moving, you know, tip her out and get going.
And when you did, and kind of seeing what was unfolding in front of you, did you think they were going pretty quick and that things could fall to your favor?
Yeah, the pace felt quick, but you know, I just trusted in her so much, and she was giving it to me when I was asking her. You know, I just had to just keep in close contact as I could, and she did the rest. You know, I just had to keep her straight and get her to the wire.
And Safi, congratulations on your first Breeders' Cup win. This filly, kind of an outlier. I mean, this is her 10th start this year. And how did you decide about taking her back kind of from the two turns as you did in the Princess Rooney? Were you pointing for a race like this with her?
Yeah, so first start off with Mark. They wanted to buy her, and they were trying to buy her, and they didn't get it done at first, and Mark was persistent. He's very good at being persistent to get in these kind of horses. When he bought her, he says we're buying her to be a one-turn horse. She won the Ruffian. It was kind of a surprise. Like, I mean, you didn't expect her to win the Ruffian. And then there's nothing really for these fillies, like, unless you go 7/8. So we didn't know if 7/8 would be too short. So we kind of stayed the two-turn route all the way through. And then we went to the race at Monmouth, almost hoping that if she didn't run good, we would have a reason to cut her back for sure. And then she ran a nose behind Idiomatic, and it was hard to cut her back off of that. But then we went back to Saratoga. The result was the same. She ran a lackluster third. The ownership group talked it over, and they were brave enough to give her a try in the Princess Rooney. And after the first 3/8, I was watching the race with Clint at Parks, and I said, she's going to get pulled up. I mean, she was that far behind, and then the rest was history. And today, I thought she would show a little more speed today, but it was the same style. And after the first quarter, I felt good. The first, before they put up the first split, I was very concerned, and then after that, I thought we had a shot.
Mark Cornett, last year, Breeders' Cup Classic win, and now here again today, and partners Mark Martinez. Just kind of take us through what went into the partnership, the purchase of this filly, and your thoughts on that.
Yeah, we actually had a horse running Rural Delta at Gulfstream. It was the first time she caught her eye in the paddock, and I noticed how beautiful a filly this was. And then she ran good, nice second that day, and I tried to buy her after that race. Couldn't get it done, and they ran her in the Aziri Stakes. Shipped her 3 weeks later in the Aziri, ran her there. I think she ran fifth, and finally got a deal struck with her there. And you know, we just changed it through a few things up. We sent her to Palm Meadows to Safi and wanted to give her a little freshening. They had been running her every 3 or 4 weeks for about a year, shipping her halfway across the country at the same time. So we just freshened her up Palm Meadows. I think she liked that. And then, but the whole thing, Mark and I actually went back in her past performances, and there was a race, a one-turn mile race at Gulfstream that really caught her eye. And you know, that was really the only time they had run her in what our opinion was the right distance, the right one-turn race. And we thought she did something special that day, and that's why we bought her. So.
And Mark Martinez,
Yes.
Same question, but being here, Breeders' Cup champion now with a filly like this, just what does that mean to your partnership and with these connections?
Well, my first Breeders' Cup win, so it means a heck of a lot. You know, I've known Mark. You asked a question, how did the partnership get together? I've known Mark for, 20 years maybe? We kind of started, and I would like to say he's got a great eye for a horse, and he does a fabulous job of managing him, and we kind of share a common philosophy, so that makes partnership easy. Then we turn it over to Safi and Drayden, and thankfully the race wasn't a quarter of a mile. So to answer Drayden's question, it's 7/8, and that's all we needed. So it's an incredible experience. I've been in the game quite a while, haven't gotten this one yet, but this is special. And I would like to have my wife and my sister and her husband here with me, so it's really, truly a special
It's always great to have the support and family here at the Breeders' Cup. We'll open it up to the press for any questions. Anybody here with a question?
Drayden, with your history at Del Mar, what does it mean to come back here and win this race back in California and at this track in particular?
Well, this is my favorite racetrack to be at, so it's special to me. I won 2 riding titles here. I won 7 in one day here, so this place is special to me. To get a Breeders' Cup here is icing on the cake.
Safi, we've seen you so emotional at the end of the race. Which is your first remember of a Breeders' Cup, and what it means for you now to win, to be a winner of a Breeders' Cup?
I mean, it means everything. It's where the best world horses come together from all over and gather together, and to win your first one is special. I mean, you kind of want to get off the list because it gets owners to get attention to give you better horses, and can't say enough about the ownership group, Agave Racing, C2 Racing, Mark and Clint. I mean, they've been big supporters of us, and I think what we went through last year, the biggest thing they ever did for me was giving me White Barrier back. I mean, I understand White had to move, so I respected that, but giving him me back, I was never going to ask for him back. And Mark called me one day and asked if I wanted him back, and I think that helped me heal a bit, just to know that they would give us confidence. They have that kind of confidence in me, and thank God. And Drayden, they were good enough to leave Drayden under the horse. He won the Princess Rooney, and we talked it over briefly, and it was always set in stone that we were going to keep him on. We just wanted to weigh all our options, and that's a brave move too. I mean, look at Drayden. I reached out to him earlier this year to come over to Gulfstream. We thought we needed a rider to be our second call over there, and he wasn't doing well. And I said, come give it a try. And it was like, it's almost God's guidance saying to give him a go, because I met Drayden's dad just briefly in a golf cart ride and had a little conversation, conversation with him, and then Drayden's dad passed away shortly after. And I mean, it means a lot for me, and just like I always feel they've given me the opportunity, and I feel like I've given Drayden, and the rest is history. Thank God.
Amen.
All right. One more question here.
Drayden, congratulations. You took some time off last year to deal with some off-the-track issues. Could you just kind of reflect on the past year, the ups and downs of your career?
Yeah, it's. I've learned a lot. It's how this game is. You're not always on top. If rare few guys stay on top. There's a lot of ups and downs, and you got to get out of them. And you always need support from some people. You got to be given opportunities. I'm super thankful for what Safi has done for me. But the time I took off, I just personally I felt I needed it. I've been going nonstop since I was 18, and I lost my father at 18. I just kept going. I never took time to really mourn and process everything. So I took the time off for myself, and when I felt ready to get back and my mind was good, I was going to come back. So that's what I did.
Nice going, Drayden. You talk about the faith that you have in this filly. Can you describe what that connection is and what kind of signals she might give you during the course of a race? If today's the day, if it's going to be, one of the other kind of races, or the kind of race she produced today?
Well, this is only the second time I threw a leg over her, so I don't know her that well, but the way she looked and seeing the videos on Twitter and stuff, how she was getting over the track, I love my chances, and I believe 100% in Safi and the connections, and the rest is history. I trusted in her. My main thing was to keep her in contention the best I could. I thought I would be a little closer, but we weren't. But hey, we passed a wire in front, so that's all that matters.
All right, well, we heard you out there say you were ready for some celebration in the Champions Lounge here. So congratulations, Soul of an Angel, All the Connection, on the win of our first Breeders' Cup race of the day, the Filly and Mare Sprint.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, baby.
Thank you.
Back up. No, I was going to sit down. Yeah, Rafe, back to it for you.
I'm going to ask you if you can just to speak really closely into the mic. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right, let's go ahead and get started as we don't have much time to the next race. And congratulations, Starlust. A big price here, Russell Ryan. What a year you have had, and culminating here now today in this Breeders' Cup win. But take us through the trip, because kind of far back early, was that sort of the plan with this horse?
No, it wasn't. To be fair, Rafe left it up to me, filled me with a lot of confidence going out. I jumped well, and I actually spoke to Ryan Moore before the race about just a little bit of guidance on here and everything, and he said, look, over 5, you can go forward, press to go forward, but after you've gone half a furlong, you need to give him a chance. And I jumped well. I didn't have the pace to push forward early, fully, so I just slotted in behind him. I knew he'd come. I wasn't feared coming out at the back when I came off the bridle, because he always comes good 2 out. And it was just one of those days. Luck was on our side, and it opened so well. But, whatever about it opening, by the time it did open, I was there, I had the horse, and this horse has been knocking on the door all year. It's just great to see him finally do it on the big stage, because he's been a bridesmaid for a lot of it, but brilliant, unbelievable training performance as well.
Yeah, and Rafe Beckett, congratulations. And the 10th start for this horse this year, but you touched on it a little bit, Ross, about the trip. Concerns during the inquiry at all? Were you able to kind of see how the trip had unfolded there?
Sort of flashbacks to been here before. We had a fairly secret gesture was taken down in the Beverly D of 2013. Somewhat unfairly, we felt at the time. So I was expecting the worst, but obviously the favourite came out, and that was why Rossa went right, because it was a domino effect. So yes, obviously concerned, because we operate under different rules, and it's an interpretation of them, isn't it? And so yeah, there was some concern, but delighted to get it done, and the inquiry certainly didn't take the edge off it. That's for sure.
Well, big race, man. We're going to go ahead and turn it over to the press quickly, since I know we had a bit of a delay after there. Anybody with some questions directly here?
Just 2 very quick questions to you, Rossa. First of all, deep down, leaving the backstretch, did you think Cogburn mightn't come back?
Yeah, I honestly, like...
Could you see him?
No, we were going so fast, and I was kind of... The back of my head, I was like, is he going forward for me, or are we just going too fast here? But by the top of the straight, I actually did thought we'd be in the first 4. I was getting a good run through. I thought Cogburn at the top of the straight had slipped me, but they just couldn't hold up that frenetic gallop we went, and it played into our hands.
And just a very quick question for both of you. I know it's neither here nor there, but we were just commenting how brilliant it is that the inquiry is done so quickly, so snappily. Do you think that's really good that it's sorted so quickly here compared to back home?
I think it lets you enjoy the moment if it, if it falls your way.
Yeah. If it goes the other way.
Yeah, then it
could be a different conversation.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's 10th run this year. It's a pretty complete campaign. Were you surprised that he's as sharp now as he was, through the year, so to speak?
He's a horse who kind of trains himself. He's not a horse who needs a lot of graft. He sort of enjoyed himself in Dubai rather more than he was on his holidays there, and he treated it as a holiday. We couldn't really get him to run the way we wanted him to, and then he was unlucky in the Abbey. In the sense that Rossa got nearly put through the rail, and it was a good run in the Nunthorpe. It was a very good run in the Nunthorpe. The other point about why we came here, and this is an important point, is it was around a bend, and he was very good round a bend last year in the juvenile turf. And we really felt that if he was able to hold on to their coattails, that would play for him.
How do you sustain this last few weeks of results into 2025 for your team?
That'll be difficult.
Will this guy stay in training next year?
I don't know.
That's a very good question. I don't think anybody's thought about that.
Yeah, well, the Breeders' Cup is back here next year, so it'd be nice for a repeat. Anybody else with any questions? If not, we will let you go get a good celebration, and congratulations. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started so we can celebrate Torpedo Anna. Congratulations. Mark Edwards representing some of the ownership group here. What an incredible filly. What an incredible year. Just kind of take us through what this whole experience has meant to you and all the partners on Torpedo Anna.
Well, I've been involved in horse racing maybe 15 years in the ownership variety. I've been following the horses since I was like 0. And to get to this level with such a special horse for everybody. We've had a lot of horses, you hope they win. When she runs, I expect her to win. Obviously, it's a horse race, and that doesn't always happen. But boy, she is so special. She's such a treat to be around. She's feisty, and she's fast.
Yeah, she's been feisty in the mornings here when she got here training and everything, but so relaxed out on the track today. And when Brian sent her to the front, were you just like, I know she's the best, and let's see what she can do?
When I saw Brian take her to the front, I loved it because he wasn't urging her. She was running on her own. He was letting her do what she wants to do. And the fractions were very honest. And I thought, boy, she's got this. And Brian didn't disappoint. He brought her home. She didn't disappoint, obviously. But, no, it was a thrill. To be here in the Breeders' Cup, to win the Breeders' Cup Distaff, is something I never thought I'd be doing.
And there he is, Ken McPeak, stepping up here right now. So, Ken, we've just been talking to Mark, take a seat there, about just how special this filly is, and now getting you your first Breeders' Cup win, but to happen with a filly like her.
Well, it's a little bit of a relief, but at the same time, I was really proud of a lot of the runners I'd had in the past, and it's a humbling business, but she's so special. She makes it look so easy. She really made our job easy all year long.
And just so, kind of speaking of all year long, Derby win, Oaks win, multiple other wins, and now a Breeders' Cup culmination here with her. What are your thoughts on going forward? And the question I'm sure everybody wants to know, Horse of the Year?
Every intentions of racing her next year. We'll put a plan together for that. I think that she's been so much fun and she's healthy. We'll probably let her visit Dr. Bramlage and let him poke on her a little bit and make sure that everything's in good order before we firmly make that decision. But I think next year could be a lot of fun.
All right, want to get to Brian Hernandez. Brian, again, a phenomenal year, and now culminating with this win on this great filly. So just take us through the trip, because we were talking about broke out of the gate and you were on the lead. How easy do you think you were going?
Yeah, that was our game plan. Kenny and I discussed it, and she's the best filly in the country this year, so we wanted to ride her accordingly. And the biggest question is just make sure she stood up in the gates and left there in good order. And when she did that, it made my job so much easier, because all I have to do after that fact is just stay out of her way and stay on her back more than anything. And we got to the second turn, and I was able to see the nuzzle of Raging Sea there, and knowing that Raging Sea was probably the horse to beat, and for her to try to make a run at us that early and not get to me, it put a whole lot more confidence in myself going around the second turn. And she turned for home, and she just showed her dominancy again.
And Judy Hicks, breeder and co-owner as well, has joined us too. But I'm going to go ahead and get to the press right away with questions here. I'll start here in the front row with Ron.
For Brian and for Kenny, how did this race change, or how would it have been run differently if Idiomatic had been in?
I don't think about those things, and I don't think anybody should. It's that's all hindsight, and it's just unfortunate that Idiomatic didn't make the race. But it's certainly way out of our control, and unfortunate for some of the fans, I suppose. But it's hard to really concern yourself with it otherwise.
And same here. We never really had to worry about it because they deflected a couple weeks ago before the PPs or anything even came out. So we came in here prepared with our horse, and we knew the job we needed to do, and that's all that we had to worry about.
Question?
Yeah, it's a question for Brian. Sort of at the top of the lane, what was she feeling like underneath him? What was going through your mind? Because it looked like she was loaded.
Yeah, that was the thing. The entire race, she was just loaded and doing her normal things. You watch her train in the mornings and stuff like that, and she just clips off 12s. And that's what she did today. When she gets in her nice, comfortable rhythm, all I have to do is stay out of her way. And going around the second turn there, you start smiling a little because you know after being on her so many times that there's going to be plenty left when you ask the question on her. Oh yeah, definitely. There was never, like I said, when we got to the second turn and it was raging sea that was trying to push us along, and it didn't phase her at any point. I knew from that point that we were going to have a pretty easy trip down the lane.
Question?
You've mentioned that you want to keep her in training next year. Any idea about going abroad, like Dubai or Saudi, not just keeping her in the UK, in United States?
February's a lovely time of the month to visit Riyadh, Kenny.
Yeah, we would consider it. I definitely will do that. We'll look at all the options, and I wouldn't mind taking her. Who knows? Maybe the Gulfstream race, the Pegasus, Saudi, Dubai. There's some interesting things out there. We're going to keep a close eye on the Classic here today, and let's see that group of horses compete and see what else is out there. But she certainly, at this stage, can certainly fit against about any of them. One thing I want to mention, and off the questions, this wasn't as easy a week as everybody thinks it might have been. She got off the truck or the plane flight and had a cut on her hip. And so it was quite a concern. And then she had a large hematoma on her stifle. And she was a little stiff on it the first day. And we actually lost a day of training because of it. And the team did a really good job getting that problem cleaned up. And we had to treat her. And so it wasn't a straight line. It was a little nerve-wracking the first couple of days that she was here to get that cleaned up and sorted out. And fortunately, she's tough, and she went out there and trained with it and never missed a beat. And it gives you an idea that none of this is easy.
And Judy, you've known how tough she is from day one.
She has
Can
been.
we get you to speak into the microphone, please?
That she has. She's been big and tough, but she also has a soft side. We know that she allows anybody and everybody to give her peppermints. Lyda, who's not with us today, the gal who foaled her out, actually got her to where she'd lay down and put her head in her lap and go to sleep. So she has two sides of her. She's got the grizzly and the laid-back girl. I just want to thank Kenny for his efforts, and it's been a team effort, and I'm so happy to be a part of it all.
And Kenny, just quickly to wrap up, wait, one more question?
This is a question for the ownership group. Of course, most of us know the story, but perhaps as this is the world stage, can you share where the punchy name Torpedo Anna comes from?
Well, my granddaughter's name is Anna Thorpe, and she's a competitive swimmer at Sacred Heart in Louisville. And earlier on, some of her coaches called her a torpedo, which was a takeoff from Ian Thorpe, the great Australian swimmer. And so when I called Kenny, I was at Keeneland, and I think we had broken a maiden with a horse that day. And when it was over, I called him and I said, "Do you have any horses for sale?" And he said, "Yes, I've got part of a Fast Anna filly." And I said, "Anna?" I said, "Okay, I'll take her if I can name her." Truth be told, I would have bought her anyway. But he thought for about half a second, go, "Okay." And so I threw it to Anna and said, "Come up with a name." And she thought for a couple of weeks, and she goes, "I can't do it. You come up with one." And I mistakenly said earlier that once upon a time that her mother suggested it should be Anna's Attitude. Actually, that was her father. And I said, "No, we're going with Torpedo Anna." So that's pretty much how I came.
Kenny, question for you. She campaigned from March to November, 7 consecutive graded stakes. What is it about her, a 3-year-old filly? She seems quite durable. Take us through the year, if you could.
Well, she never misses a meal. You're kind of like me. I think that makes our job easier, but she really loves to go to work every day. We got into a really good rhythm with her at the fairgrounds this winter. She wasn't at Churchill that long, and then she went on to New York later on in the fall, spring. And then in New York, if you watched her go to the track every day, once you hung the bridle on her, you could drop the reins and she would walk to the track, knew exactly which gap to go on, knew exactly where to back up to, knew where to gallop from. Danny just has to stay out of her way to some extent. But she's very workmanlike, and I think the key is that she's she has speed, galloping speed. She just keeps it going and going and going, and she's just that first quarter of a mile fast, and it makes all the difference.
All right, congratulations to all of you. Torpedo Anna winning the Breeders' Cup Distaff.
Thanks, Tom.
Better than when she got to last time you walked in.
Yes.
Are you going back to
Yeah, Louisville.
Ready to get started. Well, William, congratulations. William Buick here, jockey of Rebels Romance. It seemed heading into the first turn that all of a sudden he made a very quick move with you. Did you sense they were going slow, or did he just kind of get headstrong?
Yeah, I always, I spoke with Charlie this morning, and we sort of agreed that we were riding positively, and I expected the 8 horse to lead. And I sensed he was getting a soft lead, and he was putting the brakes on. So I thought, well, I'm kind of in a position where I'm 3 wide and in a bit of a no man's land. So I opted to go forward, and he was a little bit competitive when I first moved him forward, but then he got in that lovely rhythm that he's so accustomed to, where he travels powerfully, but he's within himself, and it was a very sort of, from then on, it was a very straightforward race for him, really. And even when he got the competition late, he still managed to find a little bit more. So he's an amazing horse. He just seems to always find a way, what is a sign of a very, very good horse.
And now joining us up here, Charlie Appleby and Hugh Anderson representing Godolphin. And Charlie, kind of to bounce off of what William was just saying, this horse, kind of a fan favorite, a stable favorite, and really a testament to you all for this horse to keep performing at this high level.
Yeah, so I mean, first and foremost, he's very much a yard favourite for sure. When they're 6 years old and still campaigning at a level and that he is, and taking us all on our journeys around the world. He's. Everybody loves him, needless to say, but he's also built up this great, fan base, this global base. We see it all around the world. Obviously, the Europeans will get a horse that they're attached to, and the Americans likewise. But he's just got this sort of worldwide fan base now, and it was most noted when we went to Hong Kong there in early in I think it was March. Now I can't remember. Now I've lost track of date, but everybody knew him there, and it was for him to go and do what he did there was a huge feather in his cap. But to come back here and say back-to-back, well, not back-to-back, but back-to-back Del Mars anyway, to do it the way he has, yeah, huge, very proud moment for all of us in Godolphin, and just so grateful for His Highness Sheikh Mohammed and the team to allow us to keep training horses like this.
Yeah, and to follow up on that, Hugh, a horse like this, a favorite around the stable and for the Godolphin team, and kind of just sort of take us through the program, Godolphin's program, and a horse like this, being a gelding, is sort of an outlier to the stable.
Well, yes, he may be a little bit of an outlier, but actually how he's been campaigned and the success we've seen with him is been something that, has happened at Godolphin over 25, 30 years. We really got the whole business of international campaigning, we were really at the vanguard of that, and I think what Charlie has done with Rebels Romance is a classic example of what we can do at Godolphin and what we do so well. For him to win in Europe, Asia, Dubai, and here at the highest level is what we're all about, and it's absolutely brilliant, as Charlie said, for the yard, for all of us at Godolphin, because he's a flag bearer for us, and long may it continue.
And he has quite the following as well. We have a question here. I'll give you this one.
So take us through that last half mile when you're moving up a little bit. What were your thoughts as that race unfolded the last half mile?
To be honest with you, I was comfortable in the run. Obviously, as William explained earlier, he just when he had to make that move first quarter of the race there, he just got a little bit competitive, and then he switched into or relaxed into that lovely stride that he's got, and very comfortable in throughout the last half mile there. When William made that move off the turn, I was pretty confident we sort of got the job done. But then all of a sudden, to be fair to the second horse, that was closing. But as William said, he said, I was not idling in front. He says, but he needed something to come at him. He says, and as soon as he felt that horse on his girth, he picked up again, which is, as we all know, a sign of a good horse.
He wasn't idling, William said.
No, exactly. It's just, William just said, we've been out there for so long, we were galloping away. He said, but it didn't do him any harm to have that surge of a horse coming to him.
The remarkable year that you described for his 6-year-old season this year, how do you have a blueprint in your mind for 2025 for this guy?
For this fella, he owes us nothing, and we'll only have a race plan as to how he will tell us up to race plan realistically. I mean, obviously we'd like to take him back to Dubai and look back towards working back from a Shima Classic. you know, it's a race, and he's won, but it's a race that's very close to our hearts. It's a you know, World Cup night. It's a huge night for us all, and to have a horse like him turning up, he's again an international star, so he draws all the attention, and quite rightly so.
Maybe meet here in 12 months?
Well, you never know with this old boy.
Charlie, we talked yesterday, and you said it was the fair favorite. Do you feel pressure? Do you feel relief? What is the difference? How do you feel with this horse since the first win in the Breeders' Cup with him to this one?
As I did say to William there, it's so much easier to watch good horses go around there. You feel the pressure when you're on that fence, not knowing whether they can get the job done or not. But with a horse like him, he takes the pressure off of you. And at meetings like this, any big festival meetings, you know, if you're not getting the rubber to green for the first couple of races, of course it starts to, you feel the pinch a little bit. But when you roll a horse out like him, you know he's going to be giving his best out there, and so you can only allow him to do that, and he never lets us down.
Charlie, there's been horses who have won back-to-back turfs, but not won it, missed a year, won it. What goes into keeping a horse at such a high level for such a long period of time?
I think that what the key thing to him has been what we've done there, sort of just over 12 months ago, is when unfortunately, you know, we were planning on coming back to a turf last year, but he had that hiccup there in Saratoga where he clipped heels and he lost all his confidence. You could see that at home. He'd lost his confidence. He's a horse that will stride out. I mean, as I said to William today going out there, I said, you know, let him use his stride. I said, these can't lay up with him in the paddock walking round. You know, he's got such a stride to him walking. And just going back to, he lost all of that mojo, and so we had to build him back up. And he went to Kempton, won his listed race round there. Then we took him out to Qatar. He won again. He went to, you know, Shima, won again. And he's just like any athlete. They just, once they get into that rhythm and routine of winning, you know, it takes a good one to knock them off their peg.
How about there was unfortunately a fatality in the race? What kind of feeling is that for everyone involved in the race?
Of course, we all know what this sport is like, and how brave these horses are. And when, you know, I feel extremely sorry for all the connections and most importantly the horse himself, you know. But you know, as I say, in this game, it's a tough and a cruel game, and you have that side of it, and it makes you appreciate when these horses, like a horse like him, does it at the age of 6. It just shows how tough they really are, and when they're enjoying it like they are at his age, he's still going out there and doing it at the highest level.
All right, congratulations. Thank you for your time. Rebels Romance, 2-time winner now of the Breeders' Cup Turf.